Hey, good day everyone. This is Mike with Longmont Water Heaters. Today's call brought me to a Rinnai RL75 that was throwing code 10 and stopping heating here and there. If you look up code 10, it can be a lot of things. Basically, it's not igniting, could be insufficient gas supply, blocked combustion air inlet or exhaust. And we actually see this one a lot around here, so I pulled out my camera, albeit a little late, and started following through with these instructions sent to me by Rinnai. I'll try to get a link to those instructions in the description of this video, but let's get right into it. On those instructions, I'm starting with number 7, disconnect ignition wire, electrode, and flame rod wires. Then I remove the 6 screws that attach the gas manifold to the burner case on the heat exchanger assembly. These directions circle and arrow the screws that they're talking about, which it's actually kind of hard to follow along with, but once you figure it out and get used to it, isn't too bad because they are labeled. Then I work my way down to number 9, where I remove 2 screws that attach the gas manifold to the gas valve. And it should be noted that these screws are machine screws and must be used in the same location they were removed from. I like making little piles as I go, and then I can just put them back in reverse. It then asks me to disconnect the solenoid wire harness from the manifold assembly, but I already have that done in this video. And then the gas manifold gets nice and loose, and you can just pull it right off the machine. This gives us our first view into the burner box. And at this point, I pull out my vacuum and my Milwaukee vacuum accessories. I believe these are called the Air Tip Long Reach Flexible Vacuum Extensions. They're available at Home Depot, and they are really handy because it's soft plastic that you can sort of bend into these nooks and crannies. And I start trying to suck out any bugs or any dust that I see in that burner box. There's really not a rhyme or reason to this. I'm just trying to get things clean. At this point, I needed something pokey because there was a bug that just wouldn't come out of there. So I grabbed my needle nose pliers, got it to move a little bit, sucked it right up. In a second here, I'm going to move the camera so you can kind of see in there and see what I'm looking at. Oh, look at that cute little guy. Nice little fly. And there he goes, right up into the vacuum. At this point, I start working on number 14, removing the fan motor from the housing. There are 4 screws that attach the fan motor, and it's kind of confusing because there are other screws there that don't seem to really do anything if you take those out. Don't ask me how I know. But the ones on the outside with the little tabs are the ones you're trying to get. There are 4 of them, and once you carefully remove those, you'll be able to pull the fan right out of its housing. A magnetic screwdriver is helpful. Now with these wires in the way, you kind of have to be careful taking it out, but this does come fully out of the machine. It doesn't hang anymore if you've got those harnesses disconnected. And you can see them off right there to get an idea of how this thing how we've gotten to this point. From here, you can kind of see in there to a little picture that I showed you before, a whole bunch of Miller moth guts just slammed against the outside of that fan housing. See all that black stuff? That shouldn't be there. It should be clear, smooth metal. And those guts sort of slow down the spinning of the fan and cause it not to get enough air, which causes it not to light, which causes it to throw 10. And these are really powerful and sensitive machines, and just those little guts clogging it up can be enough to slow it down. That was Windex. Windex does a really nice job of breaking apart bug guts, so I squirt a little bit on my rag and I get to work. I also squirt it directly in there just to try to moisten things up. And then I really get rolling here trying to get this clean. This was the problem with this unit, and I'm not saying that yours will have this exact thing, but I have seen this twice, and it tends to be something that even Rinnai technicians don't get to or miss when they get in here to clean out that heater box that we were looking at before with the vacuum. This next step is very important. Be careful with that white wire as the gas manifold, valve, cover, whatever you want to call it, hangs there. Those wires are tight and they don't come off. I could not get those to release, so I was just trying to be real careful around them. I'm going to speed things up a little bit because you know what cleaning looks like, and we're going to work our way towards the end of this. I mean, certainly the better job you do cleaning, the longer this fix is going to last. So I do encourage you to really take your time with this and do a good job at this point. And then as you wrap things up, you're just going to put things back in the reverse order that you took them out in. So the first thing we get sent back in there is the fan and those 4 screws, hooking up the harnesses as we go. Hopefully you kept your screws in a nice little pile, and you can just work your way backwards in these directions or in this video to put things back together. You do have to get those 4 screw holes lined up just right. Here I'm putting a little pressure on it to hold it in place while I slip the first screw onto my magnetic screwdriver, and I can work it in there and get this thing tight. I do not have video of me putting everything back together. But again, you're just going to need to watch this video in reverse or follow the directions backwards, work backwards with your pile of screws, and put everything back just the way you found it. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.